I think one of the greatest strengths of art in general is its incredible ability to communicate to an audience a sense of time, a sense of place, tension. It does a very good job of putting the audience in the shoes of someone else. I think one of the greatest strengths of video games is the ability to take that one step further and to get you to think or arrive at the same thinking process as the character that you're playing as. A pretty easy example of that is a horror game. Horror games do a really good job of getting you to think like the person you're playing as. In Outlast, you're thinking, I really have to get away from this creepy smile guy. In Resident Evil, you're thinking, I have to get away from the fungus, the goo. There's a whole lot going on in that game. I think a really interesting example is the game Reigns, where through its mechanics and presentation and genre also really gets you to think like a very detached ruler in the medieval ages. In addition to that, it does a very clever modern social commentary of the dating apps that we have nowadays, like Tinder or what have you, and draws a direct line from those dating apps to that ruler. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the really smart design decisions that they made that really encourages you to start thinking like a callous ruler, just as they wanted you to. So it's been so long that I've completely forgotten how to make YouTube videos, and so you might see me with different focuses and lighting and stuff like that throughout the video, but we'll make it through together. Shocking, I know, that this isn't my day job. To get the long and short of it, Reigns is a roguelike card-based management game where you're given 4 bars at the top of the screen: religion, people, military, and money. And with each A, B, yes, no decisions that they give you with the cards, those bars will go up and down, and it's up to you to try and keep those bars not from getting too high or too low, and basically lasting as long as you can. Let's start by talking about how the mechanics really encourage you to start thinking like the callous ruler that they want you to, and then we can start talking about Tinder and things like that. You can boil it down to 2 different facets of this game that encourage you to think like the designers wanted you to think. Those are the 4 bars that I already referenced, and the other is the actual A-B decision making that's presented to you as cards in a deck aesthetically. Individually, they don't really seem like that big of a deal, but it's through their interactions with one another and how they play off of each other that really starts giving this game a identity and texture. The first thing is those 4 bars, which, like I said before, is religion, population, military, and money. Obviously, the 2 directions that these bars can go are up and down. If you reach the maximum on any of them, the run ends and you lose. If you reach the minimum on any of them, again, you lose. So the bars are where the end state, the fail state, whatever term you want to use, the end runners come from. And so you really are going to be paying attention to them with every single decision you make. There are 2 different amounts with which they can go up or down. There is the smaller amount, which is denoted by a smaller dot, and then the larger amount, which, wouldn't you believe, is denoted by a larger amount. We're gonna get more complicated, I promise. And the next layer of this is the actual thing that you're doing in this game, the A-B decision making of the cards that I'm talking about. Every single turn, you're going to be presented with a new card, and that new card is going to have some dialogue about the situation that you're currently in, and you can either swipe right or left, and you can see where those Tinder mechanics that we're going to be talking about are in this. Before you make your final decision, though, you can see on those 4 bars if it's going to affect them majorly or minorly. However, you don't know if it's going to go up or down. Obviously, as the game goes on, some of the cards begin repeating, and so you can start building a memory of how cards affect certain bars up or down, but initially you're really going off of context clues here. And so through this, you can really start seeing how that callous ruler that I'm talking about begins to emerge, because initially you start as a very uninformed ruler where you don't know if these decisions are going to help or hurt the church or the population or what have you. And so you really just decide off of your gut. You go off of context clues and you start learning as it goes on. Okay, if I reinforce the garrison, this thing happens. If I choose to build a dam, this happens. Things like that. You slowly start getting more experience and you start getting more confident. And then with that, you slowly begin turning into that callous ruler that I keep talking about. Because the goal is to last as long as possible. Every decision you make is another year on the tracker. And this game introduces certain milestones to you of survive 20 years, survive 30 years, survive 60, 80, things like that. And so through that and your experience experience that you've gained by interacting with these cards more than once, you start detaching yourself more from the context of the cards and you start thinking about them more like numbers. I know that building the dam in the narrative would be a good thing to do, but I also know that it lowers my money by a certain amount, and if I can't afford to do that, I'm not going to choose that. And so you start making decisions no longer with your gut or your heart, and you start making them from a way more of a detached point of view than anything else, because you've seen all of these cards before, you've seen all of this before. Just like your character through their deal with the devil, you keep coming back and you keep ruling over and over and over again. Just as your character starts becoming detached from the decisions because they've seen it all before, you as the player also become detached because you also have seen this all before, because to both you and the character, this is all just a game. You can always just go again. And I think it's so interesting, just from these two things of the 4 bars going up and down by certain amounts and the actual card roguelike style that they chose, it almost immediately gets you to start thinking exactly like the character you're playing as, which I think is fascinating. And for me personally, I didn't even realize I was doing this until way later, when I was literally just reading the first couple words of a card, and because I knew instantly what that would do, I was making snap decisions left and right. I wasn't even considering the narrative consequences of building the dam or not. I didn't care about the actual people I was ruling over. I was caring about the freaking bars above me and if I needed the money or not. This game lets you do crusades. This game lets you establish colonies and enslave the local population of said colonies. I wouldn't do that, but as a callous ruler, I decided to do that because I needed the bonuses that they gave me in order to keep surviving. That's really cool that they were able to, through such simple mechanics and interactions, override my morality like that. There is a reason for every decision in every game. There is a reason that they made it look like a deck. There's a reason that they don't show you the exact results of every decision that you make. And there's a reason that the decision mechanic looks a lot like Tinder. We're going to talk about that now. If you've never been on Tinder, to give you the quick and dirty, it's a mobile dating app that you're able to download. You upload pictures, you make a bio, and they present you other people's bios where you can either swipe left to say, I'm not very interested, or you can swipe right to say, I am interested. This style of dating app has drawn a lot of criticism in the past, and in my opinion, for good reason, because it encourages people to very quickly gut instinct, yes, no, left, right, as soon as they see the person. And so it really encourages this detached, judging a book by its cover, not really caring about the person on the other side. You can see the connection that the left-right Tinder mechanics have with the game Reigns, where you're basically doing the same thing. You're swiping left or right on either app, and they're both encouraging you to act way more detached than you probably normally would if you were standing in front of these people. If you were a ruler standing in front of your people and they were begging you to build a dam, you probably would, because I'm assuming that you're a good person. Just as if you were standing in front of the person whose profile you're looking at on Tinder, you probably would take a little bit more time before either swiping left or right on them. On the surface, the game Reigns looks like a very basic, bare bones A/B decision-making game, but because of the context and the design decisions they made with this fairly simplistic game, they have been able to communicate so much and get you to think in the exact way that they want you to think, and through that they're delivering a message. Their design is talking to you. You are in dialogue with the designers, and that is what makes it so cool. And I think it's really interesting that the designers decided to, either intentionally or inadvertently, make this connection between being on a dating app and being this detached ruler. Maybe I'm reading too deep into it. I don't know. Let's get to the dissonant notes. The first one that I want to talk about is I really like that this game does have a definitive end. It has multiple endings, but I just really appreciate that the game does decide to have an ending, because I feel like a lot of roguelikes will spin their wheels as long as you want them to. But I do really respect when a game does decide to close the book. The next note is that I am glad that it had a definitive ending, because it was starting to lose a little bit of its luster as I reached the end of the game. I feel like because it is so simplistic in its mechanics, it does explore them as much as you possibly can. And so I felt like if it lasted any longer longer than it did, it would have really soured my taste of it. And so that is also another reason why I'm glad they chose to have a definitive ending. I think though that it's okay that the game is fairly simplistic in its mechanics and things like that. Not every game, in my opinion, needs to be the grandest, most extravagant, stuff-filled game. I think one of the beautiful things of art is that it can be really slimmed down and focused like this to communicate very specific ideas. And so even though I just said it was losing its luster at the end of it, I don't really think I was craving any more complexity, because I feel like if you started introducing more complexity, the game could potentially lose the charm that it has right now. The next note is that there's also this meta narrative that begins to emerge between you and the devil, where it actually directly addresses the roguelike element where you do keep coming back over and over and over again. And I thought that that was really interesting, and I want to give this game its flowers for directly addressing the actual game mechanics and the genre conventions of the roguelike. The last note that I have does kind of surprise me because I don't really catch myself saying this a lot, but this game does have a PC version and a mobile version, and I really recommend the mobile version, which is surprising me because I don't usually enjoy mobile gaming. But I think because it's already fairly simplistic, because it's already a roguelike, so it naturally has start and stop points, and because of the literal layout of the game itself, I think it really is built for mobile, and you're gonna have a better experience playing this intermittently as opposed to having long marathon sessions. I don't really think this game wants to be played for long stretches of time. I think this game wants to be played for 10-20 minutes at a time on your phone, which I think is also the reason why the game is fairly simplistic, because if you were going to start introducing more mechanics, more complexity, more that I as the player have to juggle, it would start feeling really bloated as a mobile game. And so I think right now, because it's so streamlined, it is meant to be played on mobile. Overall, I really was taken aback by how well designed and well thought out this game was. I was going into this game really thinking that it was just going to be a very basic roguelike, but as I started playing it more and more, it really started showing the deft nature of its design and how, even though it's fairly simplistic, it still manages to communicate itself in a very efficient and effective way. I know myself well enough to know that if I was a king, I probably wouldn't do a crusade, but this game got me to do a crusade a few times, so take that as you will. Why did I say probably? What the fuck?